Now, from the combined newsrooms of KARK4 and Fox 16, breaking news coverage.
And good morning, everyone. We do have breaking news for you this morning. A mass shooting in downtown Little Rock. I'm Donna Terrell.
And I am Nolan. Right now, here's what we know. 17 people were shot at Power Ulta Lounge. This is in downtown Little Rock. Here is video from inside that nightclub about 2:30 this morning when shots rang out.
Let's listen. And one of the things we've been able to figure out after listening to that several times and playing it for you at home is there was more than one gun involved. We want to go to Price McKeon. She's actually at Power Ulta Lounge where this took place last night in the wee morning hours. Price.
That's right, Donna. This shooting happened around 2:30 this morning. We were out here. I was out here around just about an hour later, around 3:30, talking with police. We talked with the Little Rock police chief out here this morning. But first, I want to show you what's going on right now. This is the scene. Crime scene investigators have been out here this entire time. We've watched as they've marked evidence, then they've taken the evidence away, then they've taken the markers away. What we know from police, though, at least 17 people were hit by bullets inside this club that you're looking at right now. You can see that windows are shattered, and windows are shattered not just on this one side of the building, but they're also on the other side. Police also said more than 17 people were injured, though. They said that some people got injured when they were trying to leave that building. They could not give me exact numbers at this point because they are still trying to figure out exactly how many victims and how many people were hurt. They did say that they do not believe this is terror related. They also said that they do not believe this was an active shooter scene. They said what they believe happened was there was a group from Memphis that was in town for a concert inside this club behind me, and they said some type of dispute, they believe, broke out, and that's when the gunfire erupted.
We do know that 17 people, according to police, 17 people were shot. Some people were hurt, were shot. Some people were hurt because they were trampled trying to get out of the facility. Jonathan Roselle is at UAMS where 9 victims were taken. Jonathan?
Absolutely right, Donna. 9 victims, I'm told by UAMS officials, being cared for here at UAMS here right now. We're working to get information on their exact injuries, what sustained injuries they sustained. We do know that one victim, a woman, we don't know where she's being cared for, but she was had the worst. She was in critical condition earlier this morning, and right now we've been told by police that she's doing better at this hour right now. We do know that some of the victims were taken to St. Vincent as well as Children's Hospital, and I've been calling those 2 hospitals there, trying to figure out exactly how many victims have been seen there and have been cared for. As soon as I get the information, I'll let you know, but send it back to you in the studio right now.
And thank you for that. We have Governor Asa Hutchinson, who is on the line to talk about what happened in the wee morning hours while we were all sleeping. Yeah. There was a shooting at Power Ulta Lounge, 17 people shot by bullets. Governor Asa Hutchinson, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Well, Donna, good morning to you, and such a tragic event overnight. And we're all praying for those that have been impacted by this, the victims and their families. But we're also looking at the larger picture of the community where we live. And this is just totally unacceptable that this kind of violence is impacting our community. It's really time that we bear additional resources to fight this kind of violence. I just spoke with Colonel Bryant with the Arkansas State Police. I intend to be speaking with the mayor later today and to see what additional resources that we can bring. The state is willing to participate as needed. Obviously, this is when you look at gang-related violence, whenever you look at the shootings that are occurring here in our capital city, we just got to get stronger and tougher, and we've got to get a handle on this, and we're willing to participate that to the extent that that's can be coordinated. So this is this is something that has to be addressed from a comprehensive standpoint. It can be done, and it's got to be done.
Governor Asa Hutchinson joining us now. Governor Nolan here. I guess the first question I have for you is, what was your emotion this morning when you heard that in the capital city, in the heart of downtown Little Rock, 17 people were shot?
My reaction is that way too far, that people do not go to an event, no matter what kind of event it is, in the capital city, expecting this kind of violence. This is the kind of thing that you hear that's related to a terrorist attack, that's related to things that happen in Florida and other cities, not in our hometown. And, of course, you can't go very far in Little Rock without knowing somebody that's been impacted by violence in some way over the last year or so, and you just start hurting for the families, the people that just want to go about their business and work and enjoy this incredible state, and you don't want to have this interfering with the incredible lifestyle and community that we have, and this is a very serious concern, and we all have to take a step back and look at this anew. I'm a former federal prosecutor, and so I understand that you've got to get bad people off the street, and if we don't find out the facts of this as to whether you've got people from out of the area coming in, whether you've got people that are right here, but clearly there's gangs that are operating here, and that takes a coordinated effort of law enforcement to identify the culprits. And you got to lock them up, and you got to get them off the street, and so that's the approach that we need to take.
Hey, Governor Hutchinson, let me ask you this question. I was talking to Kathy Webb, the Vice Mayor of Little Rock, on air just a few minutes ago, and one of the things she said was she feels that the state legislature needs to revisit gun laws in the state. And I said to her, that's a very sensitive issue when you start talking about guns and Second Amendment rights and that sort of thing. But do you think the state legislature needs to revisit that issue at all? Or is there any laws that our legislature can come up with to make guns less accessible, especially in terms of criminals getting their hands on them?
I don't think this is a matter of passing more laws. I think this is a matter of enforcing the laws that we have. You have, I suspect that when the facts come out, that you'll find some of these individuals that unlawfully possess the guns. They might have been stolen from a car. They might have might be a felon in possession of firearm. So this is an enforcement issue. We don't need to pass an additional law. We've got to crack down on those that have already broken the law, that are already misusing their rights, and that's the issue here. So I'm sure that there'll be legislative interest in what we need to do, but I have full confidence it ultimately comes down to a law enforcement issue, bringing people together to arrest the culprits, make sure they're locked up, and make sure that those that pose a risk in the future are not available to do it. And that's, to me, the legislature has to look at all of the enforcement package from a cost standpoint. But we have the laws in the books that we need to enforce.
Governor Asa Hutchinson joining us live talking about a mass shooting in Little Rock, 17 people shot. Governor Hutchinson, I can tell that you're very adamant, very passionate about this subject. Is this kind of, for you, the final straw? This is too much. We've gone too far when we're talking about gunplay here in the capital city.
Well, in some ways it is. In some ways I crossed that some time ago. I mean, it's been a constant source of irritation to the people of Little Rock and concern all over the state about the deaths that occur, the drive-by shootings that occur, the youth that have lost their lives in this. And so I've always seen this as something that needs to be addressed very aggressively. And the mayor and the city officials feel the same way, but I think this means there's got to be a higher level of coordination, support for a serious enforcement effort in this. This is still very early in this investigation. We've got to know the facts. So, but I mean, 17 is a number that grabs your attention and grabs your heart as well. And so there will be, efforts that come out of this that I think you'll see is very coordinated. I think it will have a strong law enforcement aspect to it, and to me, it's a matter of getting bad guys off the streets, getting them locked up, identifying those, and that's what we've got to address.
And while we're talking with you, Governor, we're actually looking at video from last night when this happened. Police got the call around 2:30 this morning, and then and we're listening to the shots. You can probably hear them as you're on the phone. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 shots were fired at the Power Ulta Lounge last night. I know, and I certainly do believe that police are working very hard to try to get a handle on situations like this, as well as, a number of drive-by shootings that have happened in the city of Little Rock over the last 10 days that we've reported on. My question to you is, how does the state work with the city? Or is this, and we're discussing this in terms of laws and all of that, but is there money that the city needs? Is there something that the legislature or something that the state or something that you can do that can make the job for law enforcement a little more productive?
Well, it's a combination of probably a number of those factors. This is a city enforcement. Whether you're talking about Blytheville or Rogers or El Dorado, the first enforcement goes to the city law enforcement. But in many instances, the state police is called when they need expertise to back up investigations. In many instances, the FBI is called in if there's a federal jurisdiction. And that's whenever you have those different levels of investigative and enforcement resources, you've got to coordinate them. And I think that's and to bring in that assistance as needed. The Little Rock Police Department, they have significant resources. They're very capable. But, this is, part of it is intelligence information. It is what you're gaining from interstate and efforts, actions that might be happening in larger cities that impact Little Rock. And this can come through other sources than just local police. So I'll be making some comments about this as time goes on as to some ideas that we can do to further support the enforcement's efforts here in Little Rock. But I don't want to get ahead of the investigation. I certainly want to talk to the mayor and local officials, but clearly we stand ready as a state to offer additional support for this incredible circumstance and tragedy that we have before us today.
Governor Asa Hutchinson joining us live here on both Fox 16 and KRK4 News. Governor, before you go, I want to ask you your message to those that were injured, the 17 shot or the others that may have been trampled, their loved ones, their family. What would your message be to those who were at that club last night?
My message is that we as a community are beside them. We understand the heartache. Our prayers are with them, but also this will not pass into the night quietly. We know that what they want is answers. They will want a strong response from the law enforcement community to find the answers here and make sure this terrible tragedy doesn't happen again. And they have my commitment that we will stand with the city as we address this problem together.
All right. Governor Asa Hutchinson, thank you for taking the time to talk about what has been a very, very disturbing story that we've had to report on this morning, with 17 people shot in a nightclub in downtown Little Rock. I do have an update, though, on conditions. At St. Vincent, they took in 3 of the 17 victims. Right now, 2 are in stable condition. 1 is in critical. Jonathan Roselle told us that at UAMS, 9 shooting victims are there. And Mark Lohman with Baptist Health says 3 of the club victims were taken to their North Little Rock Hospital, and 6 were taken to Little Rock. 3 of the people have been released. The amazing thing, and when we look and listen to that video, it's amazing to me. Yeah. That no one was killed, and thank God no one was killed. But once again, we're going to let you listen in. Listen.
We've got several folks who are watching, not only here in the state of Arkansas. This is being broadcast on Facebook Live as well, on both KARK and Fox 16's Facebook pages. So a lot of people are watching. I had somebody tweet me who took the time to count those shots. He counted 32. 32 shots fired, 17 people injured, and at this time, you're telling me that only 1 are critical. I think you're right. That's what I have. Now, I don't know if it's just 1 critical, because out of those 9 at UAMS, I'm not sure. But we know that 1 is in critical. That is a blessing in what is a horrific situation. Jonathan Roselle has been following what is happening with those victims. He joins us now live at UAMS. Jonathan Roselle, any new information from the 9 that you are telling us are there behind you at UAMS in Little Rock?
And Donna and Aaron, I've actually just got off the phone with UAMS officials. They tell me they actually care for 11 patients who were at the nightclub this morning during that shooting there. They say that 11 were treated. Most have been released. None of their injuries were life-threatening. Again, Baptist Hospital officials tell me that 3 were taken to their North Little Rock location, 6 to their Little Rock location. 3 of those 6 have been released. And again, St. Vincent saying 3 taken there. I've talked to Little Rock Police about those numbers there. Again, these are numbers that they say can go up and down as the day goes on. They say that some of these people who are injured, who are checking into these hospitals, have jumped out the windows to escape. They heard these gunshots and were fearing for their lives, so they tried any way they could to get out of harm's way again. So again, these numbers we're hearing could be shooting victims as well as others who were trampled, hurt any other kind of way, really trying to get out the club to get to safety here. Again, those numbers will go up and down. We do know that right now Little Rock Police are saying that no one, thank goodness, has died from any of these shootings here that we have right now. We know that one woman this morning was in critical condition, and they tweeted out about a few hours ago that that woman's health is doing better at this point. We don't know exactly how she's doing, but they say that she's doing better at this point. So again, these are numbers that will go up and go down as the day goes on, as more people come out and say, hey, I was injured, this is what happened in this club here. Yeah. I'll work to get more information for you, but for now, I'll send it back to studio. Okay, we appreciate you. You're doing a good job trying to get us information. We do know 1 person is in critical condition at St. Vincent. 2 others are in stable condition. One of the things, Price McKeon, who is at the location at Power Ulta Lounge, she was talking about the windows being broken, and you know, one of the assumptions you make when you know that there's been gunfire on the 2nd floor is that, well, it was gunshots. We just found out through Jonathan that there were people jumping out of the windows, which could very well be the reason why those windows are broken. And you can only imagine, I mean, just look at that building. It's the building with the awnings in the background. That's the 2nd floor where you see the red colored, it's kind of a red and white awning.
It's the second floor. That is where this was located. Those windows are broken. And from what I'm understanding, based on what the information that Jonathan Roselle just gave us, people were jumping out of those windows trying to escape the gunfire. We also heard through Marcus Eubanks, one of our photographers who's also working this morning trying to get information for us, that one of the people on stage was shot in the back. Police have confirmed that the 17 victims that we're telling you about, all 17 of those people were shot. Where on their bodies? I just told you one person shot in the back. We do know as well that some people were trampled as people were trying to get out of the facility. Again, the group that was there last night was a group called Finesse Two Times. That's a rap group out of Memphis, Tennessee. Some authorities have been able to tell us, this is a picture, one of their posters promoting last night's event, Finesse Two Times. You see the person there who, I don't know who that person is. I would be assuming if that's the namesake, but you see that person there holding a gun. And I just make that comment and let you decide from that. We've had people say, you know, those were folks that were out just wanting to enjoy the city, just wanting to have a night out and not deal with this kind of crime. We also want you to know that tonight between 5 and 6 o'clock, we're going to have a 1-hour special report on this shooting incident that took place overnight, and we will be carrying the 3 o'clock news conference live. So again, from 5 to 6 tonight, a special report which will be live from right here in our studio, and that news conference that starts this afternoon. We're told it will start at 3 o'clock. Sometimes they will give us a time and it'll be a different time, but we will be carrying that news conference live. Aaron.
Yeah, both stations are going to be carrying that, Fox 16 and KARK, as we are joining forces on what is a mass shooting. 17 people shot at this club right here, Power Ulta Lounge, right in the heart of downtown Little Rock. You can see this is Broadway running this way, Interstate 30 here, the River Market in this location, Power Ulta Lounge right in the middle of it all. Here is the bird's eye view of that club. You can see, Donna, as you were just reporting, as we kind of zoom in, let's kind of walk through what we were seeing here. You can see the windows there, Donna. Those are the windows that were broken. If we can go down to street level, Alan. Here we go. All right, hold it right there for just a second. Okay, those windows to the top right corner of your screen are broken. What you're telling me is that we have had reporters who can say that people were jumping out of those windows, possibly hitting that red awning you see there to get to safety. We're talking the upwards of 30 shots fired in this situation, 17 hitting people, 17 people shot. But again, this is the street look. You can look exactly at what we've kind of been talking about through all of this. A lot of information coming out. We're going to continue to comb through this information. Again, this happening about 2:30 this morning. We do have a statement from Attorney General Leslie Rutledge. My thoughts and prayers are with all 17 victims who were injured overnight at the Power Ulta Lounge in Little Rock. I am grateful for the first responders who saved multiple lives. That statement continues. We're going to have that statement on our social media pages. And right now, Donna, as we continue to get that information, social media becomes invaluable. We have so much information on our social media pages, including quotes from the governor who was just live on our air, on the phone, talking to us. And Donna, this one strikes me, and this is one I think that we all need to continue to look at as we talk about the Little Rock mass shooting that 17 people were injured in. Asa Hutchinson telling us, quote, "This will not pass into the night quietly," meaning the governor of Arkansas has recognized what's happening here when it comes to gunplay, when it comes to gun violence, and he's dedicated. I heard the emotion in his voice, Don. I know you did as well. He is dedicated to finding an end, to finding a solution to the violence we've seen in our communities.
Yeah, the top men in the state dedicated to it, as well as so many city officials who are also trying to put an end to this violence, as well as a lot of community leaders who are trying to do the same thing. Our Victory Over Violence initiative between Fox 16 and KARK also trying to put an end to the violence that keeps happening around here. Our photojournalist Marcus Eubanks, he spoke to a friend of a victim at Baptist Hospital, and we're told his friend is in surgery right now. Listen.
So, Justin, we're here at Baptist Hospital, and from, I guess, all intents and purposes, you had a friend that was involved or was hurt in last night's mass shooting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anthony Fontenot, he got shot in the back. And he a good dude, so it's just sad to hear something like that happen to a good person like that. Right. Something need to change.
Right. Now, as far as it concerns the situation, what do you know about what happened last night?
Well, I just heard it was an altercation in the club between a group of people, and shots just got fired, and everybody just took off running, and he got shot in the back running. Right. He wanted me to go, but I told him, you know, I ain't got time for that. So I stayed at the house and woke up to this.
Why were you apprehensive about actually even going out to the club last night?
Because it's just always some stuff going on, some extra stuff going on. So I'd just rather not.
Right. Now, what can you tell us about Anthony in there, the one that's your friend that's in surgery?
Anthony is the most coolest, the most realest, my realest friend I got. Like, he just the most coolest dude. Like, he come through with anything for you. Like, he treat me like a real brother. Like, we was like brothers. I've been knowing him all my life.
How old is he?
22, 23.
Okay. And you say he was at the show on the stage?
Yeah, yes, sir. He turned up. He wanted me to go. That's what I'm saying. He was like, I'll pay away all of that. He cool. Like, I was like, nah, I ain't messing with Little Rock.
Right. Are you from Little Rock?
No, I'm from Conway.
Okay. So, were you apprehensive about going to the show because of the violence that has been happening here recently?
Yes, sir. People have been getting shot every day, so why put yourself in that situation?
Okay. Now, what time did you find out, and how did you find out about him getting shot?
My sister was calling me. I had like 10 missed calls when I woke up. She said she came to the house to check on me because she thought I was with him, but I decided to stay at the house. And then people telling me he got shot, and I had to figure out what was going on.
So have you tried to go in and see him or anything?
They wouldn't let us go in and see him. He went into surgery.
And that is from a young man who is connected to Anthony. Anthony, who was on the stage at Power Ulta Lounge last night, who was shot in the back. He was trying to run away. He said that there was an altercation between two groups, and that's when gunfire erupted. And the young man that is a friend of Anthony said he didn't want to go. The young man there from Conway, I didn't get his name. He said he didn't want to go out because he says there's always some stuff going on. Anthony, who's 22 to 23 years old, somewhere in there. But definitely, I can't agree with that young man from Conway more when he said something needs to change. That is for sure. Congressman French Hill released a statement also. I don't know if we have a graphic for it, but I do have the information in front of me. I think it's okay for me to read it. This from Congressman French Hill. My thoughts and prayers are with the victims of this morning's senseless act of violence. I am confident in the ability of our seasoned police officers in Little Rock to bring the suspects or suspect to justice. I have reached out to Little Rock Police Chief Kenton Buckner to offer any assistance he may need from my office. I also thank our first responders, doctors, and hospital staff for their treatment of those wounded. Members of our community are strong and resilient, and it's when we work together that we can find solutions to overcome this kind of violence. That again from Congressman French Hill.
Yeah, we're starting to see our Washington delegation, if you will, those who are in Washington here from Arkansas respond. You heard from Representative French Hill. This is Senator John Bozeman, very short, very succinct, to the point, praying for the victims of violence in Little Rock. And want to focus a little bit on social media because this is the place where we get so much information, and we're bringing that to you as we get it. So make sure you go and follow Fox 16 and KARK. All of our reporters are tweeting out the information as it becomes available. We have heard from the governor. We have heard from the attorney general. We have heard from the lieutenant governor. We have heard from senators. We have heard from representatives. But for me, again, I know we just talked about this, but I do want to point this out again. Governor Asa Hutchinson telling us, quote, "This will not pass into the night quietly." He is adamant about taking taking a look at what is going on in our city. If you are just joining us, almost 9:30 right now, going to kind of walk through what is happening, what has happened. 17 people were shot at a club inside Little Rock. This is a location where it happened. It is 220 West 6th Street, so 220 West 6th Street, right in the heart of downtown Little Rock. Taking a look right now at the bird's eye view of this club, the Power Ulta Lounge. Now, Chief Kitten Buckner was on the scene very shortly after the shooting happened. The call came in about 2:30. Here is Chief Kitten Buckner talking about a mass shooting in the capital city.
On today's date, at approximately 2:30 a.m. at 220 West 6th Street at a club either formerly known or still known as the Power Lounge. There was a concert held here today. Preliminary information has a group from Memphis that was performing at this location. Some sort of dispute broke out between individuals that were inside. An exchange of gunfire took place. We believe that the latest number has approximately 17 individuals that were injured as a result of the gunfire. Also, other individuals were injured, either being trampled or trying to exit the location. The youngest individual being age 16. All of that is preliminary information. We do not believe that this was an act of terror, nor do we believe it was an active shooter situation. The injured individuals are at our area hospitals, primarily 3 locations and possibly 1 hospital in North Little Rock. At this time, we're still very early in our investigation and gathering information, talking to witnesses, the promoters. At one point, we believe that they did have off-duty police working at the location. It is unclear at this time if they were there at the time of the actual incident when it occurred. Again, there were multiple individuals that were injured. The condition of those individuals right now, we believe that 1 is in critical condition. The others appear to be non-life threatening, but all of that's based upon preliminary information.
Are you expecting any more victims to show up at hospitals?
Well, we don't know. Obviously, with the time that it currently is, if they were out there, they probably would be at the hospitals by now. But that certainly could happen.
I just want to reiterate, you said 17 people were injured by gunfire or gunfire and exiting the car?
We believe 17 individuals were injured by gunfire, one of which appears to be critical.
Do we think we have multiple suspects?
It's too early to know that, but based upon the number of individuals that were injured, I would say that it probably would be multiple shooting suspects.
Any description of a vehicle, any information about who?
It's still too early for that kind of information. We'll still have our detectives at the hospitals at this location talking to individuals, trying to gather that kind of intimate information about the possible suspects.
That's a lot of victims. How many hospitals are we talking about that they're going to? They're going everywhere?
We believe that there's 3 to 4 hospitals that these individuals are currently located at in the Central Arkansas area.
Is this characterized as a mass shooting here in Little Rock?
I would call it a multiple shooting. Some people will call it a mass shooting. Too many people shot. I mean, 1 is too many. 17 is certainly alarming and very, very disturbing.
Do we have any idea how many people were injured by the exiting of the club?
We do not have that information. We're still gathering that with our detectives at our area hospitals.
What would your message be as chief to people during this time right now where we just reported nearly 10 drive-bys in 8 days and now this gunfire here in downtown? What is your message to people?
Well, certainly during incidents such as this, emotions are very high. I think we need to be very careful with our words. This is, I guess, a blip on the map that we certainly didn't need, considering the history that we've had over the past week. We've put out warrants for a couple of individuals that we believe are responsible for some of those shootings. So at a time when you feel like that you had some momentum to get some of the individuals responsible for those shootings, we had this incident happen. But because we're still very early into this incident, we want to kind of just reserve our any further statements about that until we know more about the situation.
So no connections at this point?
It's too early to know that. It's too early to know that.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief.
And that is Police Chief Kenton Buckner, who was speaking to us early this morning around the time that this shooting happened. It happened in the wee morning hours around 2. They got a call just before 2:30 this morning that there had been a shooting at Power Ulta Lounge. To put this in some perspective, because some of you have actually been there, this is the old Lulav restaurant on 6th Street. Some of you may recognize that name. It was called Lulav, and a lot of people would go there and have dinner. It is now Power Ulta Lounge, and the upstairs area is a nightclub, and they typically have events there and bring in different groups and have parties and that sort of thing. Last night, a group called Finesse 2 Times, yes, Finesse 2 Times, was performing. That's a rap group out of Memphis, Tennessee. And what we've been told is through several sources here, this is the flyer that they sent out promoting the event for Finesse 2 Times. And what we were told is this could very well have been a shooting between 2 groups out of Memphis. That particular group there, that rap group, is out of Memphis. And so there may have been some rival groups out of Memphis. We're going to get more details for you as they come in. There will be a 3 o'clock news conference where we will certainly be able to get much more information.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Information is still flooding in. We have reporters stationed all across this city, from hospitals to the location where the shooting happened. Jonathan Roselle is at UAMS. He just tweeted out that of all the victims there at that hospital, none are life-threatening. So that is good news. Price McKeon is live at the scene. I believe we have Price live. Price, we have been covering this story now for 2.5 hours. Again, it happened about 2:30 this morning. We're going to check in with Price in just a few minutes. If you're waking up, there was a mass shooting last night in Little Rock. 17 people were shot. This is video from inside the club at the time of the shooting. I want you to listen. We counted between 20 and 30 shots. Someone on Twitter counted for us and said he heard 32 shots. Dozens of shots were fired. 17 people were shot. Several others injured as the commotion continued outside the club. Going to show you exactly where that club is. Donna had talked about on 16th Street. Here's kind of an overview, if you will, the map view. Power Ulta Lounge right in the middle of Broadway and Interstate 30. Now, if you take a look at the bird's eye view, you can see the buildings themselves, kind of get an understanding of where this is. So let's switch over to the satellite view. You know, again, this is Capitol running a block away. Capitol, again, runs right through to the state capitol into Interstate 30. So this is right in the heart of downtown Little Rock as 17 people were shot. Do want to point out at this time, Little Rock police have ruled out terrorism. This is not a terror attack. This is a mass shooting that was here domestically. We are being told that this was between a rival group from Memphis, maybe both of the groups from Memphis. We believe, hearing the sound, that this could have been 2 guns that were shot. We do not know the direction they shot, if they were shot at each other, if these were 2 guns shot at someone else. We don't know. A lot of things going on. Our governor took time to talk to us right here on this telecast that's being broadcast both on KARK4 and Fox 16. And Governor Asa Hutchinson was very adamant about finding an end to the violence that we've seen here in the capital city in Central Arkansas. Here's our governor, Asa Hutchinson.
We're all praying for those that have been impacted by this, the victims and their families. But we're also looking at the larger picture of the community where we live. And this is just totally unacceptable that this kind of violence is impacting our community. It's really time that we bear additional resources to fight this kind of violence. I just spoke with Colonel Bryant with the Arkansas State Police. I intend to be speaking with the mayor later today and to see what additional resources that we can bring. The state is willing to participate as needed. Obviously, this is when you look at gang-related violence, whenever you look at the shootings that are occurring here in our capital city, we just got to get stronger and tougher, and we've got to get a handle on this. And we're willing to participate to the extent that that's can be coordinated. So this is something that has to be addressed from a comprehensive standpoint. It can be done, and it's got to be done.
And that's Governor Asa Hutchinson speaking to us just moments ago about this shooting at Power Ulta Lounge that happened in the early morning hours, probably while many of you were asleep. Just to update you on the 17 people who were shot as random bullets were flying. 3 of those people were taken to the North Little Rock Baptist Hospital, 6 to the Little Rock Baptist Hospital. We're told at St. Vincent 3 were taken there. 1 person we've been given an update on. That person is in critical. 2 others are stable condition. And 11 other people were taken to UAMS. And that is where Fox 16 and KARK's Jonathan Roselle is. Jonathan, we're hoping you have some information or updates on the conditions of some of these 11 people.
You know, Donna, I've been talking to UMS officials all morning long. Right now, they can't give me the exact conditions, exact injuries these 11 individuals from last night's shooting, or for this morning's shooting, were treated for here. But we do know, and they do say that majority of those individuals have been let go. They say that their injuries and wounds are not life-threatening. That's good news there. Right now, again, we're talking about witnesses all morning long. One of those witnesses, my nephew, who was outside the club when all this kind of happened. He said he heard about 20 gunshots or so. He turned around very quickly to see several people running out of the club there, several of his friends there, very frantic, didn't know exactly what was going on there. Again, he's just really frantic, very sad about this entire deal. I've been talking to Little Rock Police about this all day, really, about the numbers we've been giving all day. We hear 17 shot, and then as we call the hospitals, we hear even more people are being treated. They tell me that, look, the numbers aren't really important at this point right now. What about those shot at this point? They're saying that the numbers will go up. They may go up, they may go down as the day goes on, as more people come out and say, look, I was there last night, I was injured. So they're just really thankful that no one was injured, seriously injured, actually died in these shootings here. Again, they say they'll give more information as the day goes on, and I'll bring you more as I get more information. Back to you, studio.
Hey, you know what, Jonathan, don't go away, because I want to talk about this, because I was adding up the numbers: 11 at UAMS, 3 at St. Vincent, 3 in North Little Rock at the Baptist Hospital there, 6 in Little Rock. I add up 23. Police did tell us, and granted, when police are getting this information early on, sometimes they don't always get it right, but this did come from Chief Buckner. He said 17 people were shot. Now, let's go back to the number of people that may have been trampled trying to get out of there. He did tell us that there were people who were hurt trying to escape the gunfire, and we also reported that some people were jumping out of the windows. Those people were hurt as well, which could certainly be why the numbers are higher than 17. And we're looking at Power Ulta Lounge. That is it. That is the former Lulav restaurant for some of you who have been there before. Upstairs, the 2nd floor, people were jumping out of the windows, and they were landing where? On the pavement or on the awnings, you know. So, and Jonathan, you don't know this, but we're actually looking at the picture of it right now. Your nephew was outside of this establishment as the gunfire was going off, when people were trying to escape.
Yes.
What did he see? Was he able to tell you that he actually saw people jumping out of the windows?
He didn't describe that scene. He said he actually saw people get trampled. A lot of women who probably had on heels were trampled over and on. He described just how he really described it as mass chaos going on there. No one really knowing exactly what was going on inside the club as those inside the club tried to get out. I do know that he's just very frightened and very concerned about his friends, many of whom were injured by that gunfire, were injured by the trampoline, were also injured as they jumped out of the windows there trying to escape whatever was going on inside.
It's a very scary situation. One other thing I want to ask you, because I remember this might have been a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now. I lose track of time, but You and a friend were actually going there, and I know many people go there for the entertainment aspect. What is that place like? Can you describe it?
You know, absolutely. All morning long, I've had people call me who frequent that club there, who are just surprised, stunned, because this isn't the norm there. This is a club that's known to be very relaxing. People come there and to enjoy music of all sorts, from all genres, really, from country to hip hop there. So this is really hitting them by surprise here. I know when I was there, it was very relaxing, no concerns for my safety whatsoever, because it was just that type of environment. It's very calm, relaxed environment there. And to hear that this happened this morning, as it's taken a lot of people by surprise and really stunned here.
From country music to hip hop is what you just said. So they have they obviously attract a lot of different types of people, a lot of different types of music. So last night, Finesse Two Times obviously attracted a certain crowd, one would say, or at least that crowd wanted to be there to hear that music last night. Jonathan, thank you. Thank you for the update. Lots of very good information. Our Attorney General, Leslie Rutledge, she spoke with us earlier today. Here's what she had to say about this.
We have seen a number of shootings and outbreak of violent crime. And we need to, as community leaders, to address this sort of crime, to talk to these individuals about the value of human life, how we can have disagreements with one another without resulting to this sort of violence, and really come together as a community to address it.
Aaron, the value of human life.
Yeah.
The value of human life.
Well, and that's kind of the theme as we continue to kind of comb social media. Legislators, our governor, our lieutenant governor, our attorney general, all sounding off on this. And I think that's important to know that they're not shying away from what happened. As 17 people were shot in Little Rock, many others could have been injured from being trampled, jumping out of windows to avoid that gunfire. I'm going to pull up a few of these. Senator John Bozeman praying for the victims of violence in Little Rock. Governor Hutchinson telling us this will not pass quietly into the night. Leslie Rutledge, my prayers are with all 17 victims who were injured. All of these are there. And one thing that Attorney General Rutledge says here is she's grateful for the first responders. We mentioned this probably about an hour and a half ago, Donna. This is something that I think is huge in this situation, was the fact that the first responders were able to get there. Police were there relatively quickly, and all of them worked together. And at this point, we have no fatalities when we're talking about 32 possibly shots fired inside a nightclub. That's not a huge area, Donna. I know you've been in there. This club is not huge, and when you hear 32 shots, you would assume that there would be fatalities, but there were not in this case at this point. So definitely that is good news, especially because our first responders were there to help out. Let's take a look at where this club is located. This is a look at downtown Little Rock. Right in the middle of downtown Little Rock, if you're looking at Broadway here, Interstate 30 here, at the top of your screen, that's where the River Market is. Right in the middle of all of that is Power Ulta Lounge. It's located at 220 West 6th Street. So again, this location is one that is centrally located when we're talking about the capital city, when we're talking about that downtown area. Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin was on our show on this broadcast just a few minutes ago, and he talked about how these people at this club didn't know what they were walking into. And that's something else that I think is really tragic about all of this, Donna, is that these people were walking into this location. You can take a look at the bird's eye view of this. They were walking in here for relaxation. They were walking into this club to enjoy a concert and, yeah,
to have a good time. Yeah, and that is the heartbreaking thing about it. And we even have a reporter here who was invited. She was invited to go. She was downtown. She was having fun with her friends, and they invited her, and she just made the decision not to go last night. A very good decision, by the way. There will be a prayer vigil tonight at 8:15 at City Hall. You are all invited, and you're asked to bring candles. Victory over violence. Victory over violence. We can't say victory over violence enough because we need victory. We got to get victory over violence.